Good morning, everyone. I'm kind of at a disadvantage because two things: it's really bright, and my forehead probably reflects the light. So you may be at the disadvantage. I'm not sure. So happy to see y'all this morning, and I see some new faces. So we want to welcome you to Seniors Living Smarter. A few housekeeping items. This is our resource section over here, our educational partners. Please check them out. It's all about giving you resources, information as you plan smarter here in the future. Bathrooms are out this door to the left. We've got pens and water. You can also take notes. And if you didn't get a packet, please pick that up. It should be the purple packet here. And inside, we've got a few things for you. There's a ton of resources at our guest table today, Age Central Texas, Gus Davis. Wave to us, Gus. And he'll be up here with me in a few minutes. But we've got some resources in your packet. We also have the sheet for you to kind of follow along, write any questions you have, and some action steps on the bottom of that. And then important to us as well is this mildly obnoxiously bright piece of paper, a feedback form. Give us some feedback, be kind, but give us some feedback on the seminars and what you think. But we want to thank our educational partners because it's partnering with them that we can bring this to you free every month. Also, some of you took the invitation cards, the little cards here on this bright orange table right here. Invite a friend. We believe that what we do here is important, and it's such great information for you. So there's one other quick thing I want to talk about real quick. There's a slide on here, but Larry just reminded me. So next, every June, we meet the third Thursday. But July, the church called me and said they've had something kind of pop up on their calendar. So on your calendar, it'll say, I think, the 9th, but we're going to meet the 16th. So it'll be the third Thursday next month, July 16th. Give it up. Give a clap for that. Yeah. So those of you who may not be able to make it on the third Thursday, you get the second, you get another opportunity to come on the third Thursday. And there you go. It's July 16th, make sure. And I think we sent an email out. We'll send another one out for you, and then again, tell everybody about it. Our educational partners, please, so give us a shout out here. So we've got Care Patrol. Here's Ray. We've got Visiting Angels over here. And we've got the Oscar. We've got Senior Services of Austin. We've got Rainy and Rainy. GTX Wealth. Shout out for the intern, Josh, here. Give Josh some love. Comfort Care. And we've got Seniors Living Smarter, downsizing services. And, of course, Gus will join us here in a second. So check those tables out. These are some of the nicest people you're ever going to meet in your entire life. So, again, thank you all for being here. My name is Vince Burgess, your host and moderator today. And in a minute, we'll have Gus come up. But we're going to do kind of something different today. There's so many new people, so many great new faces. Just stand up or just turn around and just say hi to 2 or 3 people. You don't have to make it dramatic. Let's do 60 seconds, okay? Just say hi to a few people and welcome them today.
Such a nice setup here, man. Well, that'd be entertaining too, right?
Okay, all righty. So welcome again, and educational partners, we've got chairs for you back over here. You can feel free to take your seat over there. I just told Gus I kind of like these chairs, and then I hope when I sit down, they just don't split right down the middle. And but that would be kind of funny, be kind of comedy hour. But again, this is Gus Davis.
Hello, everyone.
And so just introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
All right. So before I get started, I want to just tell everyone the same thing I told Vince, which is that
I really like to talk, and so if he flags me down as like, shut up, that's okay, all right? My name is Gus Davis. I am the program director of the of Age of Central Texas. My position is the program director of the Technology Learning Lab. So I go out into the community, I specifically talk to older adults and work with older adults on how to use technology, and more than just how to use technology, how to use technology in a way that bridges the gap between younger adults and older adults, which isn't easy. There's a lot of nuance there. So I will also just say that I got started doing this job because my background is that I started off my working life as a magician. Just stay with me for a second. You
didn't know this is a 2-for-1. It's technology, and there's a magic show at the end.
You might see a rabbit pop out somewhere. I don't know. But I started my performing life, or my work life, as a magician, and that has taken me all over the world doing cruise ships and regular shows. The pandemic shut down my entire business, and so I started doing online shows, specifically online game shows. And those game shows, I wish I was smart enough to have planned this, but what ended up happening is a bunch of Fortune 500 companies reached out to me and said, hey, we need to do cybersecurity training, but it's boring. Can you make it fun? And so I put together all of these cybersecurity technology training game shows. And then once the pandemic sort of lifted, I was like, hey, I sure don't want to go back on the road for 270 days a year. I would really like to just focus on staying in Austin and using this new information that I've got. And so that parlayed itself into this job. So.
Wow, what a story. I love that. So.
The reason, actually, one more thing.
Okay,
The reason why
it starts already, right?
The reason why I actually started that off and said that I started off my work life as a magician isn't just to throw that out there, but it's also because when we do talk about scams and social engineering and having people use psychology against you to get your information and your data, when I talk about it, I don't just want to talk to you about it from the perspective of do this or don't do that. I really do understand the psychology and the forms of trickery that can be used to get your information, and so I hope to impart some of that to you as well.
Great, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So today is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to cover sort of 4 or 5 main topics. And as Gus and I were talking, it probably started several months ago. Was our initial conversation, and then about a month ago. Any one of these, we could probably talk for an hour or two. You could have its own sort of seminar on each one. So as we go through, we will have a Q&A at the end. You can ask the question, or if you don't want to talk to people, you can whisper in my ear and I'll ask the question for you. But we'll try our best to answer your questions, go through, give a high level, and there's a few caveats along the way we'll cover as well. But fundamentally, technology is no longer optional for us, and it really no matter what age. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think it's a super fair statement. I think that because technology has just exponentially taken off over the last couple of decades, the digital divide between younger generations and older generations is just massive, and it's not just a matter of can we interact in this new technological world, but I think it also has to do with can we understand the younger generation, can they understand us? Is there a way to sort of meet in the middle when it comes to technology? I have a 17-year-old son. I'm going to talk about him a lot, I'm sure, throughout this whole thing, and just the social differences between how him and his friends interact versus how I think generations older than his interact is fundamentally different, and I think it is that is bridged or at least understood through technology.
So how many in the room feel like you want to fully embrace technology? Like how many say, yes, I'm all on board with this? Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
And how many of you say, I don't want any part of it. I want to dig in my heels. I want to fight it as long as I can. How many of you like, I don't really care.
Also fair.
Yeah, I want to bide my time until this all done. So, we've got people on both ends of the spectrum, and most of us sort of like, you know what, I'm okay to learn a little bit, but more and more, I'm finding that technology is becoming, increasingly integral in what we do, and some of us still have flip phones. I don't know, and I remember the days they're a lot easier to use than phones today. But I think the thing we want to convey today is you do not have to be an expert in technology. Part of it is just being educated enough to make those informed decisions and then have the resources to know where to go when you do have questions.
100%,
Yeah.
that's true, yeah.
You want to speak to that?
I like to talk about, for the presentations that I do, I like to talk about that we don't just focus on the how, but we focus on the why of technology. The how of technology, you can look up on YouTube if you have a question about how to make your phone do something or make your computer do something. There's lots of tutorials out there. But if you don't know the why to do it in the first place, or it's annoying to you, or it's scary, then it doesn't matter if you know the how. You got to know the why first. Like I said, I have a 17-year-old at home. It just basically looks like magic. When he gets a new piece of technology, he opens it up and just immediately starts playing with it. I have never, nor will I ever, see him read an instruction manual. That won't ever happen in my lifetime. And so, again, that is a great indicator of the difference between older generations and younger generations, is that they know, when they get a new piece of technology, they assume it's going to connect to Wi-Fi, so they immediately go to settings and connect it to Wi-Fi. Then they know it has Bluetooth, so they can listen to it through their headphones. Then they know it's a connection device so that they can connect with their friends on whatever platform they are. And so they're already up and running before someone who's reading the instruction manual has figured out you have to pull off the little film of plastic off the front of it. Like it's just a completely different way of looking at technology.
And I also want to acknowledge that the fact that, as I was talking to my mom, the rate of change just is exponential these last several years, right? And when my mom, she's like, didn't have running, rural eastern North Carolina, grew up, didn't have running water inside, didn't have electricity for a few years, remember sitting around the radio, and remember when they first got their TV. And now we've come so far so quickly these last several years. It's pretty mind-numbing if you think
crazy.
about it.
I'm the full-time caretaker of my 99-year-old grandmother, and she turned 99 in April, and it's fascinating talking to her. She was born before plastic was invented. That's nuts. Her first phone number was when she was in college. To call the dorm that she was in was the number 2. You would hit the number 2, and that would get that dormitory. So to go from there to AI and robots walking around and stuff like that is science fictionally wild. One of the other things I think that I have discovered through doing this job is that I was born at a weird time. There's a very small window of generation called Zennials, and Zennials are somewhere between millennials and Gen X. And what that means is, in this 6-year period of time, I think it's from 1978 through 1983 or 6 or something like that. Anyway, in this small window, when I was born and when I was growing up, I remember we had rabbit ears on our TV. You had to get up. There was no remotes. My VCR was made out of wood, not a joke, and you had vacuum tubes in it. So I grew up at a time where my first papers that I wrote for school were done on a typewriter. We had a rotary phone in our house. So that was there was no central AC, and we lived in Texas. I was born and raised in that time, but also when I hit college age, the first iPhone came out, the first smartphones came out, the internet blew up, and so growing up, I grew up watching these technologies sort of progress at this exponential level, and had to adapt to them because that's what you did. Is if everybody has a phone, you should get a phone too. And I just say that just to say that that's such an interesting spot to be in, where I grew up with that curve of technology instead of starting off where everything was pretty much the same for decades and decades and decades, and then all of a sudden it just changed. Or being born now, where imagine that my son is 17 years old and he has never lived in a time where you couldn't call somebody on the phone and see their face, do video calling. Like that was around when he was born. That's wild.
He'll never have to use a map, a real, you unfold the map.
Fundamentally changes how you drive. If you don't have to have orienteering knowledge in your head, and you just get in the car and like, I don't know, I just followed the purple line and I got there. It's a much different brain space than being like, is it east or west of here? I don't know.
So let's dive into our first section, sort of the biggest tech risks that seniors are facing today.
Sure.
So talk to us about what are the top 2 or 3 mistakes that you feel like seniors, older adults are making now in the tech realm?
Okay, so I'll do my best to be concise. I think that older adults have a bunch of things going against you when it comes to scams, okay? Thing number 1 is that older adults are the last humans on this planet who have any money to be stolen. The reason why these scams aren't targeted at 16, 17, 18, 20, 25-year-olds is because they have $0 in their bank account. You could scam them all you want to, you're not going to get anything from it. So that's 1. 2, because technology has increased so rapidly and the rules change all the time and there's updates to things that move things around, it is constantly confusing. It's constantly confusing. And in order for a scam to work of any kind, one of the best places to get somebody is either angry or confused, and scams do both. And so these people who are out there performing these scams, they are masters at using your own humanity against you. I like to tell people that scams don't fool us because we're stupid. Scams fool us because we're human. If you hear a sob story and you want to help somebody, that's a human response. And the thought of being like, yeah, well, maybe this is a terrible situation for you, but I don't know, it's a scam. It might be a scam, so I'm just not going to do anything. That goes against a lot of people's humanity, and I think that we just have to learn to get through that, or learn to spot the signs that it might be a scam. So those are 2.
What are a couple of scams that you are seeing right now that are sort of prominent? Before you ask that, who's received in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks a text that either I used to get your toll bill is outstanding, the Harris toll, got those all the time. That's kind of abated somewhat. I'm getting a lot of calls and texts now on your $48,000 loan approval is waiting for, just this constant thing. So, but what are the kind of the top 2 or 3 scams that we're seeing right now targeting older adults?
Okay, so there's a couple that I think are really dangerous that I definitely want to make sure everyone is aware of. One is text message scams that are rampant. I mean, I get something that I didn't ask for through either a voicemail or a phone call or a text all day, every day. And I think that text messaging in particular, how many of you have gotten the text that says, hey, your package couldn't be delivered, but if you click on this link, yeah, okay. That is a great example of a terrible scam because on the one hand, it uses your humanity against you, right? If you're like not expecting a package, but you might think to yourself, oh, they got the wrong address. Let me make sure that they get it taken care of. You're trying to be a good person, and that just plays into their hand of clicking on that link and having them be able to get your information. And 2, if you did order something and you are waiting for something, and we live in a world where you can order a lot of things, there's a chance that it could be confusing in that way too. Going back to why older adults are targeted so much when it comes to these scams. I guess I just also want to say that not only do older adults have the most to lose because financially, but they also have it where a lot of scams go unreported, because if you have gotten scammed, a lot of times older adults don't want the keys taken away, right? You don't want your kids or grandkids to be like, you keep getting scammed for all these thousands of dollars, or your computer keeps getting infested with viruses or malware. So we're just going to take that away from you. We're gonna make sure that we gatekeep for you. And again, it's an unfair paradox that not only are older adults targeted more, but once they do have something that gets stolen or goes wrong, they also are the group that doesn't report it as much because you have more to lose as far as freedoms are concerned.
Well, and that's a great, kind of bridge to my next question is, what should we do when we think we have been scammed? Immediately, what are the steps we should take right away when we think we've been scammed?
Okay, so the first thing is what you're already doing, which is going to get educated about technology. So kudos to every single one of you for being here. There are some basic steps that can be taken. Like, for example, if you don't know the phone number, don't pick up your phone. Just that's a pretty blanket statement. If you don't know that phone number, even if you went to the doctor and you're expecting a doctor phone call back, if you don't know the phone number, don't answer the phone. They will always, if it's legit, leave a voicemail message, and you can call them back at your convenience. I think the other thing that we can do that, besides just education, is know that it really is okay to ask for help. Like, if a lot of people, one of the reasons why these scams take tens of thousands of dollars from people is because they are embarrassed to ask for help. And as soon as you do ask for help, it will stop. But if you try to do it on your own, it's very difficult to get out of some of these scams. So yeah, ask for help and continue to educate yourself. It does help.
And practically, for example, if you click on a link and it says, we were having trouble accessing, log in and reset your bank password, and you log in and you realize, wait, this is a scam. Should they call their bank? What should they do?
Yeah, great question.
In that situation.
So in that particular situation where you have already clicked on the link, you're about to change something like your bank account password, and you think to yourself, I don't know if this is legit. Another great piece of advice is we all have the ability to look up phone numbers of the institutions that we are talking to or thinking that we're talking to, and it is not rude and not unexpected from the customer services end. If they call you and you say, great, thanks for letting me know, I'm going to call you right back, and
but
then
not on the number that you look up the number independently.
That's what I'm saying, is look up that number independently and call back. If it is a legit thing, they will transfer you to whoever you need to talk to take care of it. If it's not, then at least you're already talking to that organization like a bank, and they can be like, just to be safe, we're going to take care of it for you. But again, you know that you're talking to the right person because you were the one who initiated that phone call. I think that it's also important to remember that all of these institutions that are calling you, banks, doctors' offices, or whatever, they are very well aware that scams and fraud happen, and so they will bend over backwards. They work for you. They will bend over backwards to make sure that you are both safe and going about it the right way, especially if you call them. But if someone calls you and is like, hey, we called you, but verify real quick the last 4 digits of your social security number, there's no reason to do that. You didn't initiate that phone call.
Yeah. And so when you say, ask for help, what is it? Who? Like, do they call you?
Great question. So asking for help from let's start off with asking help directly from a bank or something like that. Like we just talked about, make sure that you check. You verify that it's a legit thing or not. If it's too late for that, there are both police services that will help you with dealing with scams. There are you can go to like a Geek Squad or some other IT group. In fact, I also want to just say, this is a shameless plug, but over at the table, I have some information for you on some free programs that are out there for both education and for, if you do have a virus or something like that, or you're concerned that you might on your technology or device, then these are some free programs. One of them is through AARP. You don't even have to be a member, and they'll call and they'll work with you on stuff. So yeah, there are lots of services out there. And again, I'm happy to talk to you and help you in any way that I can.
Yeah. So again, Gus will be available after at his table to answer some questions. So real quickly, I get an email. What are 2 or 3 things that I should look at if I'm like, oh, I don't really know this? What are some telltale signs that might be
Again,
scam?
Great question. So first thing I always look for in an email is who sent it. Okay, so if I'm getting an email, I'm going to stick with the bank for right now. So if I get an email from Wells Fargo and it's like, hey, there's a problem with your account, I'm going to look first at who sent that email, and if it's john@wellsfargo.com, that might be a legit thing. That passes test 1. If it's John at Uzbekistan / something at yahoo.com, that is going to be your first telltale sign that is not real. If any
Okay, let me interrupt you
Yeah.
here. So is it true? I think the answer is yes. So the actual email that you see, if you kind of take your mouse and kind of hover over it, it'll show you they could have sort of a kind of a shadow.
Sure. These emails can come to you and they will look like they're from Wells Fargo. It'll say, what from Wells Fargo. They might even copy the Wells Fargo logo or their colors or whatever. But you always on an email have a to and from line, right? That you can see. And if it's just somebody's name that's up there, you're absolutely right. You can hover your mouse over their name.
You don't click or anything.
You don't click
just kind of
you just
hover
it over, and it will show you the full either website or link or that person's full email address. And so, yeah, if you hover over their name and it is so-and-so at Wells Fargo, again, step 1, you've passed. If it's not from a company website, then it's trash. You can just delete it. You don't have to read anything else about it. Also, this is to help make sure that we don't just scare you about technology. If you do get one of these scammy emails or scammy texts or whatever, if you delete it, you're in the clear. You don't have to worry about it. Even if you click on the link, sometimes it's not the worst thing in the world, because usually you have to do one other step, like allow them to have access to your computer in order for you to really get scammed hard for malware or for ransomware. And so again, I don't want to just be like, don't touch anything. That's not what I mean at all. It's really it isn't that. It isn't that bad that if it pops up on your screen and you're like, I don't know what to do, your device isn't messed up. That being said, hovering over the name of who sent it is the first thing. And the second thing that I would do is, again, if the email makes it seem like there's an emergency, that is telltale sign number 2 that it might be a scam, or it probably is a scam. Because again, try to remember that these scammers that are out there trying to get your information, the way it works, the way that people get confused is through either emotion or confusion. And so if there's a problem with your bank, you're like, I don't want a problem with my bank. And you can make decisions that if you had 5 extra minutes to think about it, you'd be like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right, So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great. So any sense of urgency, call us right away. We need a response, within 24 hours. Well, really? And then if it is, let's take the bank example. And again, there are many other examples. Don't respond that. Log in separately through your bank portal. And if you did get an email from your bank, it'll be in the messages section in your bank. Like, they would never just send you an email. They'll also put it in your portal. So just access it differently. And the third thing is very common, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is oftentimes these questionable emails will have misspelled words. They'll have an extra L, extra R, somewhere in it. It's kind of an odd thing, but it's true.
Yeah, I mean, again, reading things closely, remember that like a place like Wells Fargo, and again, we're just using that as an example, but a place like Wells
We're
Fargo.
not picking on Wells Fargo.
Yeah, we're not picking on
Don't
Wells
take all
Fargo.
your money out of Wells Fargo.
But a place like a professional institution of any kind, they have a fundamental interest in protecting you, their customer. They do not want the information that you transfer back and forth to feel like it is subject to get you in trouble or to, that it's dangerous. And so they are doing their part to make it as safe as possible for you and are happy to help you make sure that you are safe as well. Going off script here for just a second, but how many of you have a Gmail account? Like you can send Gmail. Okay, cool. How many of you have use Google Calendar? Google Calendar. Cool. Let's see. How many of you ever looked up something on YouTube before? Yeah, cool. How many of you have like a Facebook page or something like that? Cool. In that spread, most of you raised your hand at least once. How much is your Gmail account? How much does it cost? Nothing. How much does it cost to look up something on YouTube? What about your Facebook account? It costs nothing. Okay, so how is it then that these companies are worth billions and billions of dollars? What are they selling? They're selling you. That's correct. That's 100% correct. They're selling, when we talk about data, I think it's an important thing to define terms. When we talk about data breaches or them stealing your data, it's not just bank account information that we're talking about. We're talking about all of the information that's available. We're talking about your age, your location, your education, your family, the pictures that you post. All of this is data that they can then sell to the advertisers to get more targeted ads towards you. Okay, and so again, when we're talking about these scams, it's really important to me that sure, having your bank account hacked is awful. But there's lots of other kinds of data that's out there that you need to be aware of, that you need to also protect. Have any of you ever taken like a business card and thrown it in a fishbowl before at a restaurant, right? Because if you on the third Saturday, they'll pull it out and you might get a free steak or whatever. That is good old thinking of like, hey, that's just a kind of a fun thing that we can do, and maybe I'll get a free steak out of it. But if we take it to the current times, to modern times, to 2026, that is so much information just sitting in a fishbowl. That's people's names, where they work, their phone number, their email. That is data. And if you think to yourself, well, after they do the drawing, if they even do the drawing, do you think they dispose of all of those business cards in a great, respectful way to hide your data? No, right? They probably toss it into the trash. And so again, knowing what we're talking about when we talk about having your data stolen and being aware of these kinds of things really will help you not fall for some of these scams, because it's not just about your bank account or your social security number. It's about everything that you are that is data that can be bought and sold trying to sell you things.
Yeah. And as I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm thinking, the intent for today is not to instill fear,
right,
or to say, I'm never going to even open my email again.
Right.
It really is to be educated to where you can at least stop, review something, and give it a more critical eye.
Absolutely.
And that's a very, it really talks about living wiser, in today's age. So I just really wanted to kind of put that out there.
100%.
And again, we need to move on, but one quick thing. My dad's not here, and my father-in-law isn't here today, so both of them, don't tell them I said this, but both of them, 10, 15 years ago, responded to a pop-up on their computer that said, your computer's been infected, and click here, call this number, and we can help, get this off your computer. And from my dad, he did that out of sheer, it's Microsoft,
right,
and I've got to, something's bad. Called it, and then they actually accessed his computer. It was bad actors. It was not Microsoft. my father-in-law did it a separate time and actually had to go through a whole issue where they got his Social Security number and he had to contact the Social Security Administration and close out bank accounts. It was a very traumatic thing, all because the trust was there that you thought Microsoft had my back, right? And they're looking out for me. So be mindful of those two. Those seem a little less prevalent nowadays, or no? Are they those kind of pop-ups still happening?
Yeah, those kind of pop-ups still happen a lot, actually. I think one of the things that I want to also just to give you a little bit of positive news as well, if you get a Microsoft computer or even an Apple computer, again, as the company, they have a vested interest in you not getting scammed all the time and have pop-ups show up all the time. And so they come with software already on there that is there to help you not get those pop-ups and things like that. If you do happen to get one of those things that pop up and it says spin the wheel and you'll get a prize, or your
flashy things.
Yeah, your computer's infected, click here and we'll fix it. Don't do that. That is not from Microsoft. You can call a store or an IT place, and they'll be able to walk you through how to get that off of your computer. But
And so the whole virus thing we can talk about another time, but it kind of goes on and on. Now, this next section, I had some conversations this morning about artificial intelligence, or AI, as everyone is calling it. And Gus and we were kind of debating on how to approach it. Do we approach it? And the concern is that if we don't give enough information, it just, again, creates a little more fear or uncertainty. But to not address it at all feels not appropriate either. Agreed. So we want to kind of bridge that gap. So we're going to go through this artificial intelligence section, AI, which is real, it's here to stay, and it's growing exponentially. Again, if there are questions that we don't cover, we can you can ask us at the end.
I'm really looking forward to your questions.
Everybody's talking about it. AI, what is it?
Yeah. Okay.
And you have a timer. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. So artificial intelligence, as we are using it currently, is it is a phenomenon where the computer is learning and teaching itself, or humans are helping it, sort of like giving it guidelines. It will give back an answer, and humans will say, I like that answer, but I'd like you to answer it more like this, or and doing the same thing millions, billions of times, it starts to give you accurate answers to questions that aren't just like yes or no questions, but are much bigger than that. A lot of times, when we talk about data, like your data being stolen or data in general, one of the things that's important to remember about AI is that it learns through that same data that we are talking about protecting and all of that stuff. And so I think one of the important things to know about AI is that because it learns through all of the information that is out there, one of the hard things is that we're facing, one of the hardest things I think we're facing in our modern times is just knowing what is true. What is true, right? Be that from news, be that from social media, be that from a photo. It is very difficult to know what is real. And when you are talking about AI, I think it's important to remember that it is also looking through all of these things that may or may not be real and giving its best response based on what it knows. So all of these like spam calls, or all of these, if you've ever been on Facebook and somebody sent you something and it was like, can you believe X, Y, and Z? And you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that. And you get all fired up, and then you learn later that wasn't true. That's just the data point that it also is going through and learning. And so I think in a nutshell, it is not Google. It is not the same thing as Google. It is growing and here to stay. It is giving fantastic answers to a lot of deep questions. So there are lots of good things about it. But there are also some bad things about it, like we don't know if we're watching a real newscast or not, things like that.
Yeah. So AI is influencing video, images text. I mean, it's kind of pervasive and it's very iterative, right? Like
Sure.
you can go in and say, please, I need a, I'm going to, Oregon in next month. I'm going to this area, do research and plan out a 10-day trip for me. I want to do this, 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 this. And AI, Chat GPT, Claude,
Gemini.
Grok, is that another one?
Grok's one of them,
Yeah.
sure.
There are 4 or 5 of these big names. There are a ton of them.
Right.
You can type this in, or you can speak it in, whatever, and it'll pop out and say, based on what you told me, here's a 8-day travel plan to Oregon next month. Here's what to see. Here's where to go. Here's where to eat. And then you say, okay, well, that second day, I don't want to do that. I want to do something over here, and it'll iteratively give you something different. So it has lots of great potential.
I'll give you a business example
Yeah.
of where AI is helping some people. Let's say you're a sales company and your job that day is to make 200 phone calls, and in that 200 you get a list of 200 people that you're supposed to call to try to make this sale. Well, you can also put that into your AI program and say, what is the optimal order to call these people in, and it will go through each name and everything it knows about those names and almost immediately spit back, this is the order that you should call. And things it's taking into consideration is like, sure, on that's 200 names, but out of that 200 names, 40 of those people have used your services before, so they might be more inclined to use them again. 20 of them are only in office in the morning, and 50 of them are only in office in the afternoon. So make sure to prioritize those calls ahead. Those are things that, as a human, we could never do, but as an artificial intelligence, it can organize that kind of stuff for us immediately and optimize your calling to get your percentage of sales up.
And so what are some of the benefits of AI? So, travel planning, summarizing a task, like, give me step-by-step on how to do this. What are some other kind of...
Positive sides of AI. Sure, positive sides of AI. I think that medicine is a huge positive side of AI. It is able to look through and imagine strains of proteins and bonds of things that humans, again, it would take us thousands of years to do it, and it can do it in seconds because it has access to all that kind of knowledge. Honestly, I think that when it comes to AI, another really good use for it is things like self-driving cars. To be honest, I think that having something that can constantly learn and get better at things is in that situation is a good thing.
So I would say this: my nephew bought not one but 2 Teslas a couple of months ago, and we took a 2-hour trip. And actually, his wife was, quote, driving and did not touch the steering wheel. We went to Fredericksburg and back, did not touch the steering wheel like the entire time. Uh-huh. It's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
But it drove better than most humans drive. Sure. So, but again, you can put it on different modes, chill mode, I think Mad Max mode, sure, yeah. A little more aggressive. But, so it's this algorithm, right, that's feeding it. So all the data from this car is being fed to some big brain that then informs the car driving again.
Right. If we transition from this to things that are in the we still need to work on it pile, I think that there are some big social changes that AI brings on that, again, affect our demographic here, younger generations. One of the reasons why cars are so expensive right now, there's lots of reasons, but one of them is that cars are being designed for people to think less. It's being designed for 16, 17, 18-year-olds to drive, and so it has so many of these blind spot features, so many of these, we know you're not paying attention, so we're going to just go ahead and do the driving for you. And there's a couple of things that will fundamentally change. It will change how gas stations are used. It will change how driving is. Imagine being able to get somewhere without ever having to touch a steering wheel. You don't have to face forward anymore. You could have the car seats all facing each other, so you could sit at a table and just talk to each other. That would take a lot of social reform to figure out what that looks like and how that goes.
Yeah. But practically on the day-to-day, AI can be fun to play around with. It can be interesting. It can be
Inspiring.
you could do it. Yeah, it can be meal plan. Here are my dietary restrictions. Create a meal plan for the next 5 days, and out of the meal plan, give me a grocery list, and it'll do that for you. And so it's kind of a fun thing. Again, that there's an old saying in IT, garbage in, garbage out. So it's only going to, based on the parameters that you give it, it'll kind of give you your answer. But the potential is very exciting. Just be mindful of it. So
Sure,
I think that's and again, it's exercise. I need to exercise. Give me exercise. I'm 75 years old. I've had hip replacement. Give it what are 5 exercises I could do, blah, blah, and it'll search the data. Now again, it's only as good as what it's searching for. Right. So you do have to be a little bit mindful of the response you're getting.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big thing about AI is knowing that it's actually a real thing. It's not in the margins. It's not like on the way. It's actually here. And also, again, just from this group's perspective, just being aware that you do still have to question everything that you see, unless you see it with your own eyes in person, that there could be a spin on it, or that somebody, did you know that there's AI programs that I could be talking to you just like I am right now, and if it was being filmed and broadcast out, it would look and sound like I was talking in French or Spanish or Cantonese, whatever, because the AI program is watching my lips, and it would, in real time, change the way my lips are moving and make my voice be in a different language.
We should have had that today. I should have had you talk and throw up you in French. Yeah, I should have had that.
And I just say that just to say that while that's not being done maliciously by me, and for anybody who's watching this in France and they were happy to hear this in their own language without having to read subtitles or whatever, that's great. But it does give an example of how quickly and easily reality can be warped, right? I don't speak French, and so someone in France seeing that broadcast would have a completely different understanding of what they were seeing than what reality was. I hope that makes sense to everybody.
So again, second topic, we don't want to instill fear. It's exciting, kind of on the horizon, and just be mindful that a lot of what we see, and again, I get things from folks often about, can you believe this? And it's a video or image, and I'm like, well, that's completely fake. There's no way, that was really happening. So you have to, kind of think that in a day and age, you have to kind of question more than ever, is this real?
Right.
And it's kind of frustrating sometimes. Even I was telling Dale that I was watching something, and some attachment to my water hose could become a power washer. I'm like, and my wife's like, that's a great idea. We should do that. And I'm like, okay, it's some YouTube commercial. And I'm about to call that dang number, right, to get me this attachment. And my middle daughter's like, Dad, the whole thing is like AI. Can you? I'm like, no, it's not. And she goes, yeah, And I had to really, it's getting better all the time, right? Some images you see, like we said, the window, the dimensions are off. You can usually tell, but they're getting smarter and smarter. So no fear, just live wisely, and then have more of a critical eye and question, is this accurate, before you forward that to somebody and get on the bandwagon of getting angry or can you believe this happened? Just be thoughtful about, is this a real image or video?
Yeah, I'll give you another example of just things to be aware of. And again, some of this can be good, some of this can be bad, some of this is still people are trying to figure it out. Do any of you shop on Amazon? Yeah, cool. Me too. I don't know about you, but I can guess, and I think you probably do things the way that I do because it just makes sense. If I'm looking for a product, let's say a lawnmower, I just made that up, but if I'm looking for a lawnmower, I'll type in lawnmower on the search thing, a bunch of things pop up. The first thing I'm looking for is probably price. The second thing I'm looking for is how many stars does it have? Is it a 4-star, 5-star lawnmower, or is it a 1-star, 2-star lawnmower, okay? one of the things that AI can do, that people are using it for, is to write a bunch of reviews for products, right? And so imagine that Vince here has been in the lawnmower sales business for 20 years, and for 20 years, blood, sweat, and tears has, done this lawnmower business and has 4.5 stars on his business after 20 years. That's amazing, right? Somebody else could come in, selling lawnmowers, use this AI technology, have thousands of positive reviews that are attached to this brand new lawnmower company just coming into the game, and have, because it has so many reviews and comments and 5-star things, it would move up above your businesses.
I can't believe that.
I know, it's
so
awful.
bad.
I think my point is that we all have to know that that's one of the possibilities that's out there. And so, again, just use that information to be informed about your buying experience and buying power.
Okay, great. Let's switch gears real quickly on sort of protecting ourselves in this digital age. Let's talk about passwords for a second. So what makes the safest and best password today?
Vince and I were laughing about this. I have an hour-and-a-half presentation just on passwords. So passwords are one of the first key spots that you can take control of to keep yourself from getting scammed or your data stolen and stuff like that. Passwords have when passwords first started, having a password of 1234 was probably fine, and whatever. But the world has changed a lot, and so here's down and dirty. Here's a couple of things that you should know about passwords. Number one, your password should be at least 10 to 16 characters long, no matter what. And when I say characters, I don't just mean letters. I mean numbers, the asterisk key, capitals, the dash sign. So everything that's available to you on your keyboard. So 12 to 16. There's a lot of companies that are out there that are requiring their staff to have at least a 16-character password. And you should have a different password for every single account that you have. For some people, that's 10 accounts. For other people, that's hundreds of accounts.
Who has a different password for every single account? Okay,
good for you. I'm proud of every one of you.
You showed me up. I was surely nobody's going to raise their hand. That's great.
Genuinely proud of every single one of you. And one of the things that does is, if somebody does happen to get your password through whatever means that they do, through a data breach, through they just see it through whatever, they don't now have access to your car loan and your doctor's office. Those are separated with different passwords. So long password, a different one for each account. No identifying factors in your password. So if you're born in 53, don't have your name 53 at whatever be your username or password, because any information that is printed out there gives people more information about you. And again, when I talked at the very beginning about like understanding scams, realize that just somebody knowing what your birth year is gives them so much information to get more information out of you, right? They can tell just by your demographics, things that you've seen, places that you might have been, where you might have been born, just the world around you, and that can help start a conversation that just feeds them more and more information. So again, no identifying bits of information. And lastly, and this is the hard one, we really should change our passwords, let's say every 6 months, to a new password that's not recycling an old password, but a new one.
So not like my old password and then change like the last
one,
yeah. 2,
put a 1,
3,
2, yeah. I know, it's rough. I also think it's important to say that when we're thinking about the people who are trying to get these passwords, I have this picture, and maybe you do too, of a hacker or somebody trying to get your information as somebody sitting in their mom's basement eating Funyuns and drinking Mountain Dew and just sitting there like 11110, no, 11101, no, and just trying to break in, right? There are computer programs that are out there that will just go through the cycle and try to break people's passwords. So the longer your password is, and the more separation of like, or use of uppercase, lowercase numbers and symbols, the longer it will take that computer program to break your password. And if you're following those directions, then it will take so long that if you actually do update your password once every 6 months, once every year, you'll be in the clear. You'll be fine.
So what is a password manager, and should we use a password manager?
I think so. I think that a password manager, there's lots of them. Some of them are free. Some of them are.
So what is it? What's a password manager?
Oh yeah, great. So a password manager is think of it like an app or a program where you put all of the front end of it is that you have to put all of your passwords in there. The back end of it is that it remembers all of your passwords and will either give you updated passwords and help you change your password, or have all of your things securely in one spot. One of the pieces of advice that people give when we talk about passwords is, you've seen the thing where somebody has a password, a username, login for their computer, and so that they remember it, they write it down on a Post-it note and stick it onto the computer. That is unsafe, right? Anybody walking by that computer can see your username and password, and somebody could take a photo of it and send it to somebody. It is out of your control once somebody sees your username and password. I will say, just from me to you, that if you like writing things down and you want to write everything down, write your passwords down, I actually think that that's okay. That's not standard advice, but just make sure it's not out and available for everybody to see. Put it in a desk, put it in a drawer, something like that. And part two of that is make sure you notify somebody in your friend or family group about where that thing is, so that if they need to get access to your bank account or to your medical information, that's all stored in one place. It basically does the same thing. There is, just don't leave passwords out or available for people to see. Again, even if someone that is trustworthy sees it, you never know who they tell and who that person tells and how it all just gets out there. So
yeah. So talk to us quickly about two-factor authentication. What is it and why it's important?
So because theft and scams and all of these things are so rampant, one of the difficult things for a business is to make sure that they also aren't getting scammed. And so two-factor authentication, you've all probably done it at some point in time, even if you didn't know that that's what it was called. But that is where you put in your username, you put in your password, you hit go, and it says, hey, before we let you into this bank account or whatever, we're going to text you a code. And all you got to do is put that 4-digit code back in, and once you've put that 4-digit code back in, you are good to go. The reason why they do that is because you may have the username and you also may have the password, but when you signed up for that service, you also gave them your phone number and or your email, and so they are making sure that whoever is logging into that computer or that account has not just the username and the password, but also access to the cell phone number or the email address that was on file. That's the best that they can do to prove that it is you, or that you have given permissions for whoever's logging in to log in.
Okay, great. Quick question. So, what are the top 2 or 3 things that you should never share online?
Oh, this is great. Okay, so a couple things you should never share online. First one is when you're going out of town. I think that's a huge one, that people overshare information all the time. They say things like, oh, can't wait, we're going to Cancun in 2 weeks, we're going to be gone for 3 weeks. And that's literally like putting a sign in your front yard that says, hey, rob the place, it's open, like no worries. So don't overshare when you're home, just personal information like that. The other thing I think people should be really cognizant about sharing is, especially for our demographic right here, I think it's really important to just be aware and mindful that when you post a picture or when you have a photo that you want to share, just be aware that like not everybody wants their photos shared. Their faces out there, and so keep that in mind. That maybe it was a fun barbecue, and maybe there was a bunch of kids playing, and they were having a good time. But by sharing that without those people's permission, that could get them in some kind of trouble as well. And last but certainly not least, remember that anything that you put online lives online forever, and someone out there can and eventually will find it. So phone numbers, social security numbers, bank account routing numbers, anything like that that is financially or personally important to you, don't post that anywhere or even sending it in text. Remember, those are still recorded somewhere, and somebody can find them.
So we're going to go a few minutes over on this part, but we will still end at 11:30. We'll have time for Q&A, but just all these great things we want to talk about. So let's talk about staying connected to each other and family in this digital world. Like, what are some safe ways to stay connected?
So one of the things that I think is important that I've learned in this job is that connection human connection, person-to-person connection, can decrease the risk of dementia by over 50%. Just being isolated, being alone, is a huge risk factor for lots of things, but dementia in particular. One of the things that I think technology has done a good job of is making sure that we all do have some way of reaching out to other people. If we're homebound, if we're if you're mobility issues, you can still have interactions with people. I think there's some positives and some negatives about that too, but mostly positives in the sense of being able to reach out and stay connected to people. I know that most people get happy birthday wishes from me only because they have a Facebook account. There would be no other way that I would remember when people's birthdays are, and so again, I think that's sort of one of the positive examples.
And so some of those platforms would be Zoom,
any kind of social media. Honestly, texting or messaging back and forth. Have any of you Zoom people? Have you used Zoom or Teams meetings or things like that?
Google Meet,
Duo. There's lots of these programs that are out there. If you've ever used one of those, it's sort of a weird deal, right? Like, you are able to see them, you're able to talk to them. They're right there in front of you, and yet you're still not face to face, right? It's not the same thing exactly as sitting in, right next to somebody. So, but those things, especially like during the pandemic, were crucial, I think, to letting people have human connection instead of feeling so isolated.
Okay, so what are some ways and technologies that older adults can use to remain independent? And whether it's apps for medication reminders, I mean, what are some top things that you're seeing that seniors are really taking advantage of in terms of the digital world?
So I think that there's a lot of technology that's out there that is helping with accessibility. I don't know if this is not a plug for Apple by any stretch of the imagination, but the new AirPods are categorized as hearing aids. So they have the technology built into them to help with hearing. There are what are called wearable technologies, so things like Apple Watches, smart watches, things like that will help with low blood sugar, will help you with reminders for when to take medication,
or if you fall
detection, EKG readings for your heart, and if dexterity issues plague you, then you also have talk to text, and there's lots of voice commands that you can use for that too. So there are a lot of technologies that are out there specifically to help older adults. I think one of the other things that's important to say real quick about that, though, is that I also think one of the hard things for older adults to deal with is the fact that a lot of these technologies are expensive, and I think that that's important to just say. again, 17-year-old son at home. He got a brand new iPhone. Those iPhones are like $1,200, something like that. They're ridiculously expensive. The first thing he did was take it, put it in his pocket, and go and jump into a swimming pool. And that's fine. It still works. But the mentality, like you laugh because it's ridiculous. Why would you put a computer that's smarter than the things that put us on the moon and jump into a pool? The fact that a cell phone makes calls right now is the least important part of a cell phone to the younger generation. All that's important to them is the connectivity, to being able to stay in touch with their friends, to having group chats, to being able to connect to the internet. And so, again, it is a fundamental difference in how they see technology and how they use technology. And so, yes, expensive and yet disposable or nonchalance when it comes to taking care of that technology. You got to kind of keep that in mind when you are looking at technologies that are specifically for older adults.
Yeah, so there are a ton of options and resources out there. And again, Gus will be available at his table after. He's got lots of resources there, so pick his brain after this. So rapid fire, here's a few things.
Hit me.
Okay. Myth or fact?
Okay.
Macs, Apple products can't get viruses.
Myth. They can, but the truth in that is that it is more difficult. So
And we're not getting paid by Apple.
Yeah, no, we're not. It is. You are less likely to get just a random scam or virus on an Apple computer than you are on a Microsoft computer. That part is true, but is it impossible to do it? No.
Okay, good. Myth or fact, private browsing makes you anonymous.
Also a myth. It is more anonymous than not anonymous, but it is. You can still be tracked.
It's in the cloud somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Your search history is always everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Myth or fact, I can't say this without laughing. All AI information is accurate.
No, not even close. Again, there's some fantastic things that AI is doing right now for this world. I have a lot of friends who are computer programmers, and their job requires them to use AI because it is an amazing resource for them, and it can write code. It can do some amazing things, but it still needs to be humanly fact-checked because it's not 100% accurate.
Myth or fact, passwords should be written down. I stumped him.
Oh, man. I plead the fifth on this one. I think the reality of passwords in general population, not talking about the corporate world, but talking about just everyday people, I genuinely believe in my heart that it is okay to write it down as long as it's in a secure place. So if you write it down in a journal, in a notebook or whatever, and put that in a secure place, I think you're doing the best that you possibly can, and I think that's going to be okay. If you were to talk to somebody who is the head of the IT department for Dropbox or Google or some place like that, they would say, don't ever write it down anywhere. Just do not do that. Have an app like a password keeper that you use, but other than that, don't write it anywhere.
So real quickly, Google Password Manager, is that safe?
Yes, yes. If you've ever done the thing where it says, do you want me to save this password? And you're like, yeah, I want you to save that password so I don't have to ever remember it. The idea behind that is that it is still locked behind something, right? So you have to be able to personally log on to your computer. You have to have the password to log on to your computer. And if you have that password, then you obviously have the reason or the authority to be on that computer. And therefore, it's saying we can store your password. Your phone will do the same thing, right? You have the ability to unlock your phone either with your face or your thumb or however your password. And so it's assuming that whoever unlocked that phone also can have access to these particular programs.
Okay, two more. If someone sounds like your grandchild on the phone, is it usually them? Or can it not be them? Can it not be them?
I know you want rapid fire, so I'm going to do my best. But no, voices can be cloned very easily, actually. And again, remember these people who are out to get your information or your money or whatever have no morals or qualms with being mean. I don't know another way to say it. And using your own humanity against you. Just super quick, I had my wife used to work at a senior retirement company called Atria, and she had a woman that came down in a panic because she said she just got a call from a prison, and her son was in prison, and she needed to go to the bank and wire them $20,000, or he was going to go to jail for a long time. And my wife was like, that sounds very scammy. She was so mad because she was in a state. She was like, you don't understand. My son is in jail. I need to help him. And she was like, before we drive, I'll drive you to the bank, but before we do that, just call him. And so she rolled her eyes and she picked up the phone and called him. And he was like, hey, Mom, what's up? And she was like, are you okay? And she was like, yeah, what's going on? And she's like, you're not in jail? And he's like, what? What are you talking about? No. My point on that one is that had she not gotten stopped, there's zero doubt in my mind that she would have wired 20 grand to these people without question. And so, again, no, it's not always the person that you think that you're talking to. And if you start getting weird feelings, like the conversation almost immediately went to them asking for your money or your whatever, just be wary of it. Just double check.
Yeah, no, that doesn't mean if your grandkid calls, be like,
right.
like, I need to hang up and call you back. You know, that's not necessarily the truth.
That's a long game scam right there.
That's funny. Okay, last one. Myth. That's funny. Myth or fact? Public Wi-Fi is always safe.
All right. Myth, again, it is not always safe. Mostly what you want to look for when it comes to public Wi-Fi is if you go to a coffee shop and the coffee shop says, like, hey, here's the password to get in here, that's fine. If you go to an airport and it says, free Wi-Fi or whatever, it's not that you shouldn't get on those public Wi-Fis. That's not necessarily it. But if you are on public Wi-Fi at a coffee shop or at an airport or whatever, my suggestion to you is that you do not do important things like...
Don't check your bank account.
Yeah, don't check your bank account. Don't check your Social Security. Don't check your investments. Don't do things, don't check anything that if somebody was over your shoulder or happened to be logged into that same Wi-Fi network and was watching all the traffic that was going over that Wi-Fi network would be able to steal from you. So, if I'm at my office or if I'm at home or whatever, if I'm on Wi-Fi that I know is controlled, I'm happy to do whatever it is that I need to do. But if I'm at if I'm at a park and it's like, hey, this park just has free Wi-Fi or whatever, enjoy listening to your music, but don't enjoy doing your taxes,
So what's the one piece of advice of all the things we've said? Because we could go on and on and on, right? Like, it's probably things that we haven't even covered today. I know there are. And yet people are going to get hungry here soon. So, but what's the one piece of advice that, of all the things we've said, that you would, how seniors should approach technology? What's the one piece?
I think it's important for all of us to stay curious about technology. I think that it's going to keep changing and growing, and that fighting technology is just going to keep that gap growing wider and wider, and eventually will feel isolating. Things like one of the things I see a lot out in the community is people hating to update their phones or their computers because sometimes it changes where the buttons are, and I get that 100%. That being said, those updates are there to protect you. Like somebody has figured out that there's a way to exploit the code of your technology. They've patched it. They've made it where it is safer now, and they've rolled that out. That's what that update is. And so not fighting that and being confident and comfortable enough to update your stuff without it causing major issues and you not being able to use your technology is a good example of that.
Great. So remain curious and cautious.
Yep.
So we've got about 10 minutes for Q&A. If I could have one of my educational partners grab this mic. So any questions that you have, I'm sure this time together has caused some questions. So.
Thank you. I just wanted to say three things. I'm one that typed all my college term papers on a typewriter.
Yep.
And what I hate about this, I fought tooth and nail getting a cell phone because I still love my home phone.
Me too.
Yes. But I hate feeling so stupid when I have to do things online. I feel like an idiot, and I hate feeling that way. The other thing, I kind of want to know the personality of the people that are trying to rip us off. But my question, I have a new email on Gmail, and I am constantly getting sponsored, and I don't know how to get rid of those.
Okay, let's see. First of all, feeling stupid is how everyone feels online. So I want to acknowledge that that's a real thing, and that anytime there's lots of times that I'm out of my depth when it comes to that kind of technology. So I want to make sure I acknowledge that and say that that's a real thing. I also want to say that feeling of feeling stupid is one of the reasons why all these scams work so well is because all someone has to do is offer to do it for you so that you don't feel stupid and that you feel like you were smart about it, and then they're going to rip you off. What was your question? How do you get rid of the sponsors? What I would actually do, is come visit me at the table. I have a couple flyers of some free resources for IT people that will either call or come to your house. And what basically has happened is that there is they just need to get rid of some things off of your computer, and then it won't pop up anymore. And so again, you're not in any danger or anything like that. You shouldn't click on them, but there are things that you can do, programs that they can either put on or things that they can take off of your computer that will make those things go away. Yeah.
Have they started recommending, with AI, have they started ranking them yet? In other words, which company is better than the other company?
Great question. So the ranking system of different AIs, really it's not so much the ranking system of different AIs as what each one is really good for. So there are some AIs that are out there, and I'll be honest, I don't have this that whole list up in my head. But there are some AIs that are out there that are really good at counseling. Like if you're like having if you're depressed or you're anxious or you're not sure about what to do, there are some AIs that are out there that are amazing at talking you through theirs. There's others that are really good at making presentations. So if you want to make a PowerPoint presentation, you say, hey, here's the topic, here are the things I want to hit, can you make me a PowerPoint presentation? And it'll do it. And so on. There's some that are really good at code. So each one sort of has a different, some are really good at video and some are really good at audio. So each one has like its own flavor of thing that it's known for.
Will AI tell me that? Which one is better
Great
for which?
Question. Really great question. Maybe you should ask it. Truly, you should ask it. I would also do some research on Google or YouTube to see which one does the best at what you're asking for. I think it's important to also just say to everyone that AI is not the same thing as Google. So if you have a question of what restaurant I should eat at, that's a Google question. If you have a question of hey, I don't know, based on all of these restaurants that are out there, can you give me a recommendation for my friend who is, allergic to fish or whatever? And it will compile all of that and give you a better answer.
My second question is, for my online time, I use a VPN and I use a service called DuckDuckGo. Mm-hmm. Do you recommend those or not?
Great question.
I know they're not perfect.
I'm glad you asked that question because I think it's valuable for everyone. So we say Google because Google has become a verb now, right? Like I'm going to Google the answer to that question for you. Google is a search engine. That's what it is. So it's a page that you can ask a question, and it will do all of the searching for you. One of the things is that Google is a giant company, right? And so that as a company, they have their own company goals. Some of those goals sell your information to advertisers. There are other search engines. So there's Yahoo.com is still a search engine. Ask.com is a search engine. DuckDuckGo is a search engine. Firefox is a search engine. So there are lots of different search engines, and just like which AI does the thing the best, each one has a different focus and purpose. So DuckDuckGo, it's just like Google, same, you open up your search engine and DuckDuckGo comes up. What their deal is that they have promised not to use your data as much as other companies. And so, again, if that's something that's important to you, then that might be a consideration. As far as a VPN is concerned, VPNs are what they do is they obfuscate where you are logging in from and where you're searching from, and there's lots of reasons why one might want to do that. You might be in a situation where, like, how about this? If any of you like shows on Netflix, Netflix has different agreements with different parts of the states, different parts of the countries. Different countries can watch different movies on Netflix. And so if you have a VPN, you can say, hey, I want to watch this movie, and it's like, we don't have that in your region. You could be like, cool, well, now I'm in Chile. Do you have it there? And they say, yeah, we do have it in that region. That's a bottom of the barrel reason for using a VPN, but I hope it gives the example of that it doesn't just tie your IP address to one spot. It's a private network, virtual private network. Yeah, great questions.
When I was a girl, my parents got me my Social Security number long before I ever had a job. But I do remember that card came with a letter that said, don't ever use this as an ID. And now, I first started noticing that doctors required it, and I hesitated to say no to my doctor.
Right.
And then now Kohl's uses it, as an ID number. And what do you? Should I just refuse to give anybody that?
Yeah, this is all all of you can come to my birthday party. I love every single one of you, and great questions. The question that you're asking would take an hour to explain and to go into. It's a really weird question because yes, it's a great question, but it's a really weird answer. Social Security numbers are not regulated the same way as identification numbers. They're just not. It's a completely different system. And it started off being a system that, it was a secret number. It was something that was only for you and taxes, right? It's so complicated, the answer to that question. But in general, if I can get away with not giving my Social Security number, I would. I think that they're letting Kohl's have my Social Security number seems like it would be in my not best interest, because if my information got out because of a data breach at Kohl's or Best Buy or wherever, then that's a huge problem. They have my Social Security number versus if you're going back and forth between the IRS or whatever. So yeah, I think so.
Are you ready for me? Yes. I want to make a comment on that. I worked for 41 years for the federal government, working with fraud, with tax, with Social Security numbers. You should never give your Social Security number out. I have worked too many cases where Social Security numbers were used by someone who should not used it, and then when you go to draw your Social Security, you have to go through all kinds of gyrations to get it all cleared out and to sort out the income here and there. Personally, when I retired, I made sure that even my mail, nothing with any Social Security number or account number comes to my mailbox that I do not have control over.
Yeah, Thank you. First of all, thank you for 41 years of that. That's great. And second of all, I'm in the same. I agree. I think that like I said, Social Security numbers aren't regulated the same way as ID numbers, and so it's just dangerous. It's dangerous to use it. Yeah.
Okay, we've got time for two questions. Buddy, real fast.
I just wanted to answer the lady's question, that first question. If you get an email that you don't want, here's one on my iPhone. At the top it says unsubscribe, and then you won't get it anymore. The other thing is to just go to the bottom of your screen where it has to, like a reply, going back, and you can go to reply and you can block it. That's the other thing.
Unsubscribing from emails that you don't want is a great first step. Absolutely.
So, then finally, on the passwords, that issue, that area is very daunting. But, I have a password manager, a Dashlane, but the iPhone puts the passwords in an area where it does say passwords. That's one thing about it. But to keep things real simple, this is really a great thing. Just have two passwords, like the bank or a credit card. The main credit card you use, like the bank and American Express, for example, and just remember those. That's it. Just pick two out.
Well, I will follow you up and just say that if you do have a smartphone and it does give you that option to save your passwords and your usernames, that is a password manager. That is saved under passwords. So that is an example of a password manager. Absolutely.
Okay, last one. Here we go.
This might apply to both VPNs and password managers. I've never figured out. You're talking about an app, specifically password manager, that you pay for monthly or annually, but each of these browsers sometimes have their own password managers. Do they cross over? I never tried it, but I wondered. The next thing on VPNs, the same thing. If you're using, like I have a Norton account, and they offer you to use VPNs, which I haven't, but they don't cover everything in the globe. And so how do you know, or do you have to download another independent VPN app to use that?
Great questions. A lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of times technologies don't necessarily play well with each other. And as an example of that, I told you that if you bought a Microsoft computer right now, the laptop came in, it's going to come with Windows Defender. That's the name of the program that is your virus protection, scam protection, all that. If you decide you want more protection, and I think that usually comes with people who are dealing with tax numbers or dealing with bank account numbers, or if you're a CPA or something like that, and you just want to be extra careful, then you can get something like Norton Antivirus or one of there's lots of these kinds of other virus protecting things. Mm-hmm. That is a second layer of security, so good for that. But Norton and Windows Defender don't always talk to each other the same way. I say that because your password manager situation and VPN situation is sort of the same thing. Yes, there is, your computer will save your username and password, but it doesn't always transfer over to like a password manager just automatically. You would still have to go in. And then there's if you do change your password, you need to change it on both sides. You need to change it on the manager side and on the thing that's stored on your computer.
Okay, we are over time. My apologies. Such great information. Gus will be here for a little bit longer. Catch him at his bright green table here.
Very green.
Thank y'all. Please
Thank
don't
you
forget.
guys very much.
Give it up for Gus. Thank you. Don't forget to hand in your feedback forms. Y'all have an amazing day. And don't forget, next month is the third Thursday. Thank you.